People will come up and go, because in that scene, that's to do with the stone from this thing. And I sort of have to go, pretend I know what they're talking about and go, yes, of course, yeah, that's what I meant.
Wow. The first 2 episodes are just wild.
Wow,
have you
right?
been able to watch people watch it yet?
There have been 2 screenings, and so you get to hear it, and you get to hear at certain choice moments there is an audible in a few. So yeah, you can sort of feel the audience getting a bit tense. Yeah.
That must be special. Like, not that many people can ever say that they have that, whether it's musicians or actors, that you're vibing off the emotion of the crowd.
Yeah.
Do you ever get used to that?
No, not really. It's always a joy, really, because you just get to experience it anew through other people.
Is there any character, bar your own, in this series that I don't mean feel sorry for? I don't know if that's the right phrase, but where fans are like, oh, I hate them, but you're like, no, I can see their point of view.
Oh, I can see everyone's point of view, really. I think there's no, you might not agree, but I don't think there's any like out and out, like just bad to the bone villains. I think everyone's sort of got their own, I can see where everyone's coming from. I mean, in terms of like favourites, I suppose you couldn't really say that about Helena, really. Maybe, we should all just sort of protect Helena at all costs. But everyone else, I'm like, I can see where they're coming from.
Your own character, like, is it easier to play someone who's a bit of a kind of a schline, you'd say in Ireland, a schline.
Oh,
have you ever heard of that word?
Fantastic.
Just to mean they're a bit kind of like, you don't know where they're going to go. They're a tad bit little snaky.
Schline.
A schline, yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. I'll keep that. Thank you. Yeah. It's a sort of relief, really, because in just, day-to-day life, you've got to be so sort of annoyingly polite and sort of easy to get along with. So it's really nice to play someone devious.
I've asked all the gang today about when they got their scripts. Were you, like everyone else, flying through it going, let's see where this is going? Because everything, I think people will be shocked at how fast things go. Like, it settles compared to the first season, but it's still fast.
Yeah, that's such a good point. The pace of it really ratchets up. The tempo, the temperature's very, very high. Yeah, completely. It's a real page turner. And it was sort of relief. When you start, because you never know what it's going to be like, and very, very early on you go like, oh no, it's good. Like, I knew it would be, but it's just you find yourself turning the page.
I watched it with my other half, and he was a massive Game of Thrones fan, and he technically probably shouldn't have been watching the first 2 episodes because it's not out yet, but he was in the house with me, and I was watching through his eyes because he was such a Game of Thrones fan. He was going, yeah. Easter egg here, remembering that. How do you deal with that with fans? Because they're so passionate about this community that when you're part of it, you're now part of this.
Yeah, you do. It's intense. People have a lot of intense feelings about this world, and it's not one that I have an encyclopedic knowledge about. So, people will come up and go, because, in that scene, that's to do with the stone from this thing. And I sort of have to go, pretend I know what they're talking about and go, yes, of course, yeah, that's what I meant.
An hour episode of my house was an hour and a half because I was like, oh, are you talking again?
No.
Are we doing it? But I can presume that's what it's like in every single house right across the UK and Ireland.
I'm sure. But it's one of those things that I think it rewards everybody. Like, if you have if you are really know all the details and the Easter eggs and everything, there's, of course, a really rich sort of rewarding experience. But I think even if you haven't, I know friends who have not seen Game of Thrones and who love House of the Dragon. I know my friend started watching Game of Thrones after watching House of the Dragon because he loved it so much.
Well, I'm one of them. I didn't watch Game of Thrones,
and
House of the Dragon, I've just been bed into it.
I love Easter eggs, but I think it would be a bit like, it wouldn't be as good if it was just do you know what I mean? If it was just sort of fan service. I think it's got to be like an exciting story on its own.
I'm so curious about the sets because you can kind of see that a lot of them are real. It's not CGI and all that. Can you talk to us through that? Like, what was that like for you walking around it for like season 2?
It's honestly, you forget that it's a set. It's just a castle, and you get really used to it really quickly. You're just like, well, it's just I live in a castle now. It's immense. I mean, it's expert craftsmanship. They're geniuses. It's a real world. It's not a set. No, what's that?
I was with Steve and Eve earlier.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
something about them that I kind of feel like they need to do a separate TV show of a travel TV show. Could you see that on set?
As Steve and Eve?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I mean, they're just gold, right?
It was just something about them. And like halfway through, I was like, I'd love to just pour a wine here now and just watch the both of you.
They're just sort of not bickering, getting on, and sort of finishing each other's sandwiches. Yeah, it's they're just gold, really, aren't they? And I think that really translates to the screen as well. That chemistry.
Are there any other the actors that you've seen that like, as you were acting going, like you can see how people are becoming friends, even with yourself? Like, did you bond with many people on the set?
Yeah, I mean, the people I shared most scenes with, sort of Olivia and Tom, you and Fabian, I know. I mean, it's all the Greens, really, because that's most people I don't know about Matt or Emma, but all the Green, that's what was so nice. Oh, sort of about doing this press tour as well. Is the first time I've been with people like Matt or Emma for since the first read through of series 2.
Wow.
So it's been so nice to sort of touch base and sort of go, hi, how are you?
And the one thing that I actually even noticed, Stephen, just going through the corridors today, is there's a lot of laughter.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
you can kind of feel that sense from you all that there's camaraderie, which is I can't even say that word, but there's of you all.
I think that's because if it's so bleak, the show is so dramatic.
And it's season 2 now. The sex scenes, the killings,
sex and death, and rock and roll.
Wow,
yeah.
crazy.
So I think there has to be a sort of the flip side to that, and so we do laugh a lot.
And finally, before I let you go, the marketing for this, it's everywhere. Have you spotted any of the logos behind me or the faces?
The posters. We got given a bottle of, what's that drink that Emma was the, oh God, that drink.
Negroni.
Negroni.
Yes,
we got given a Negroni with House of the Dragon branding on it, which I'm going to keep. That's quite cool.
You've made it down when there's a drink after you.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you so much for today.
Thank you.
Cheers.